Hello and welcome back to this channel. My name is Gerardo Morillo. Today we're going to be talking about psychic vampires. What are psychic vampires? Psychic vampires are people who consciously or unconsciously take the energy of other people. Sometimes this is intentional. Most of the time it's actually unintentional. And what I mean by this is like most people don't really know that they're extracting and they're draining other people's energy through their own automatic and natural instincts and behaviors. When we talk about vampires, vampires take the blood of other people. And this is done to take their energy. The blood is a form of energy for the vampire in that mythology, in that fictional reality. Bats have a sort of system. The bats bite each other to drain blood of each other, the bats. So in their own little community, they have a sort of tit for tat system, and they know who's been giving blood and who's not been giving blood. And funnily enough, this is the law of reciprocity in play as well. So when we talk about psychic vampires, we're talking about things of this nature. In the bat community, bats keep score. They know who's been giving and who's not been giving, who's been taking all the blood. The person who's been taking blood and not giving blood, these people, they take note of that and they say, all right, these people, I'm not going to be donating blood to this person anymore. And bats that get fed, they get fat. The more blood that the bat accumulates, the more fatter they get, at least temporarily. So even in the bat little ecosystem, they have a sort of system there of collecting blood from each other. However, they don't do this in a very selfish manner. They do this in a very way that, hey, I'm going to take some blood from you today, and then tomorrow I'll give you some blood. So they do a lot of sharing. The idea is a win-win trade of some kind. That's the goal behind every trade. The goal behind every trade should always be a win-win. In practical terms, in socializing, when you're too good to other people and they don't respond in kindness to you, they're taking your positive energy. Now we can get we can explain this in a very complicated way. So typically there's a few models to describe this. There's the plus and the minus, which represents the win and the lose. Usually most people are operating from this kind of operation of trade. I want to win and I want to take something from you, but I don't want to give you anything back. And these are psychic vampires. Now, they might not be doing it purposely. They might not be doing it consciously. They might be that's just the way they are, but they are draining the resources and energy and the positive energy from other people around them. Which means that they're not contributing, which means that they're not doing their share. And when you interact with these people, you start to notice that your energy levels are being drained, you're being more depressed, you're being more stressed, etc. And this is because you're giving them positive energy. You're giving them love. You're giving them kindness. You're giving them whatever it is that you're giving them, and they don't return it. If you were to lend someone $1,000 and they don't return the $1,000, they literally just sucked up a lot of energy from you. Because that that it took for you to manifest that $1,000. So that person who borrowed that money, they just extracted that from you. And if they don't give it back, this is what's known as a sin. But that's not the topic for today. It's a crime to be doing that to the ecosystem and to society. It's pretty much the wrong thing to do. However, the main agenda behind interacting with other people is to create mutually beneficial relationships that satisfies the desires, wants, and needs of everyone who is involved. When I used to play, I used to be a big fan of trading card games. I used to love trading, like, Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Pokemon cards, and we always felt better off to trade. Hey, I give you this card and you give me that card. And when the trade was done fairly, everyone walked away a winner. Hey, I got a good deal, you got a good deal. This is called a plus-plus model, a win-win outcome, a mutually beneficial relationship. And this is the ideal sort of scenario where the people you are interacting with are feeding you with life force, life energy, happy feelings, good experiences, etc., etc. The list can go on. The blank term that we just use for this is just energy. We just kind of compress it and just say energy. So be mindful of the people in your life who you're sharing kindness, niceness with, and see how they respond to you. Are they filling your tank? Are they filling your cup? That's one thing to pay attention. Because if you feel tired, drained out, you start to get depressed or miserable, chances are you're dealing with a psychic vampire. Now, when we talk about psychic vampires, it's a little overly exaggerated because most people don't actually know how to be a psychic vampire. They're just really low quality human beings doing random stuff based upon spiritual laws that they don't know. Most people are not actual conscious psychic vampires. Psychic vampires who are conscious know how to take your positive energy and not give much in return. So the whole idea is to create a win-win outcome for everyone to experience positive experiences and walk out a winner. Because remember, everything is recorded onto God. Every single action, every single deed is recorded onto God. Now let's replace the word God with memory bank. When someone does you wrong, you have a memory of that. And then when you go back home and you think about it, and you start to think about, like, why you feel so tired, why after you went to the club or party or social gathering, you don't feel as fulfilled. You actually feel more tired instead of like rejuvenated. And chances are it's because there were people who you interacted with that just extracted energy and resources from you. So there's something to definitely be to take note of and be careful about the people you interact with. One way to start realizing the sort of people in your life and how to keep score is just a journal. There's multiple ways to pick up psychic vampires and also the trait of psychic energy. One way is to journal. After having a conversation with this person, what is the emotional resonance? What is the emotional psychic debris that was left over after the conversation. Because most of the psychic vampirism, psychic energy exchange is not done during the conversation. It's actually felt after the conversation. Sometimes you can also pick up psychic debris through just a simple handshake, and you can also sense the person's persona, the person's spirit, and the person's level of character just with a simple handshake. And I'm not talking about the actual physical handshake. I'm talking about like you can pick up their vibration, their soul with a handshake. You can tell who they are because they're vibrating at a certain energy, and you can kind of just feel it. Psychic vampires are very interesting, kind of a crowd of people. Normally they're selfish. Normally they're selfish. Normally they're ignorant. Normally they just don't know what they're doing. There are some people, sorry, I had a scratch. Sometimes there are certain people who do understand these things, and they purposely go out to extract and manipulate people so that they can get more in return. How to identify psychic vampires? Easy. Always ask yourself, is this person helping me out? Is this person helping me grow? Is this person nourishing me? Is this person feeding me? Is this person doing it out of the kindness of their heart? Or are they being nice to create some sort of outcome in return? Psychic vampires have this energy that's very taking-like. I know some people, I'm not gonna name no names, and it's not even what they say, but the psychic emotional resonance that they have is very taking-like. It's like just by them talking, and it's not the words, I feel like they're trying to take something from me. They're trying to take my energy. They're trying to get something from me. And typically you can also see this with salespeople as well. Beginner salespeople, they tend to have this kind of feeling of, I want to take something from you. And you spot it instantly. Once you interact with enough salespeople, you'll see it before they even open their mouth. Hey, I'm trying to make this sale. I'm trying to take something from you. I'm trying to make a quick buck or something. A great salesman doesn't necessarily try to take something from you. He tries to give you a great experience, tries to really know you, tries to take the time to understand you, so that he can best give you a product that will help you improve in your life. So they actually consider what are some of the things that will help you to improve. They're not just going up to you and say, hey, buy my product. And they're not desperate, they're not needy, and they're not trying to take something from you. Very good salesmen are very patient, and they go slowly with the process of taking the time to know you, asking you the right questions, and then presenting the solution or product and service. So they're not rushing in to close the deal like most beginner salesmen. The people in our life, the people in your life, always ask yourself, are these people filling your tank? Are they making you feel better about yourself? Are these people making you feel worse? Now this video is going to be a little long because this stuff is very advanced. Very, very advanced. So I suggest you guys kind of stick around for the next 5-6 minutes or so, because we still got a lot of juicy things to talk about here. The goal is to always leave better experiences. Never leave people feeling worse, because for one, if they feel worse, they're not going to want to interact with you. They're not going to want to keep on the socializing with you. 2, it's just better for the society when everyone is just kind of helping each other feel better by each other. Another easy way to... I got so many examples for this that I could use. So for example, let's say... I got so many ways to explain this that it's like... It's like, which one? How do I want to go about this? Let's say there's a couple, right? The woman always tells the guy, "I love you," and the guy never says it back. So in a sense, the guy is taking the energy from the woman, because the woman's saying "I love you," and if I'm saying in the context that she's really meaning it, the guy who doesn't say "I love you" back is taking the energy from the woman. Now the way that you create a plus outcome from that is she says "I love you," and then you respond by saying "I love you too." And then the end result is that both parties get their needs and wants met, because they both receive the "I love you," which creates a positive experience, which creates a positive emotional memory for both sides. And this is a very important thing to realize with the people that you are socializing with. Most people, or a lot of people, tend to have this kind of taking-like vibe. Like they're trying to take some sort of like energy, trying to take some sort of, they're trying to take something from you. It's a little hard to describe the reasonings, but if we put it on a tribal level, they're trying to rank up and they're trying to like be better than somebody else. So it is very important that you realize that certain people in your life are not filling your tank and is depleting your energy, and they're getting the bonus of it. So spiritual people tend to be very nice. And what this happens is that people who interact with spiritual people, they fulfill the tank of the other person, but non-spiritual people don't fill the tank of the spiritual person. So the spiritual person tends to feel depleted because they're being very nice and loving and sweet, but no one's doing it back to them either. So their tank is being depleted, which is causing a lot of stress, depression, and a lot of other negative symptoms as a result. One way around this is to find common-like people who are high level of awareness and high level of consciousness, who's going to treat you with respect and make sure that your tank is being fed, that they're giving you energy and resources in return, kind of like a tit for tat. And I'm not trying to say this on a kind of like super logical level. I mean this on a kind of like on a good intention level. Tit for tat. I do you this, you do me this. And it's out of love and it's out of respect. Maybe not love in the way we think love is, but when you help someone grow, that is love. When you take someone's energy and you push them down, that is not love. You just lowered their quality of experience. You just brought them down. So effectively, you lowered who they are as a person. You ruined their morale. You ruined their self-esteem. And that's what psychic vampires tend to do with people. With most people, they tend to kind of just put them at a lower level. So I guess we're going to be closing this video real shortly. How do we fix the psychic vampire situation? First, pay very close attention to their energy and their behaviors. Usually their behaviors and their energy don't really sync up very well. They're not very congruent. It's like on one end, they look like they're purposely trying to take something from you, and on the other end, they're kind of nice. So there's something a little off with them, because nice people tend to radiate this kind of positive energy of loving and sweetness, and they behave loving and sweetness, and it's very congruent. But people who are psychic vampires tend to look nice, but they're trying to take something from you. So they're trying to manipulate you in order to become. They're trying to manipulate you with a nice treatment, so that they can get something from you, to try to extract something from you. And I'll go deeper onto this sort of thing as well on a different video, but right now this is just on psychic vampire, what it is, and how to keep yourself grounded. how do you want to, rather not how you want to, how do you minimize, how do you solve the issue with psychic vampires? There's a couple things here. Learn to identify it. Learn to identify the people who are not feeding your tank, who are not feeding your cup, who are not making you feel better about yourself. That's number one. This gets very confusing with other spiritual laws, but just keep that as a one principle. They must be feeding you on a positive way. Number two, if they're not feeding you in a positive way, you gotta ignore them. Start ignoring them. The more that you ignore them, the faster the psychic vampire will disappear. Because one thing that the psychic vampire is looking for is a positive host, a prey. They're looking for a prey, and if you keep telling them no, well, they're not getting the supply from you. So, which means that you're not feeding them of the energy and resources that they need and want. Ignoring is a very powerful strategy for dealing with psychic vampires. They will just pretty much go away themselves, slowly, gradually over time, the more you ignore them. Because now from their perspective, it's requiring too much work it's requiring work and energy to get energy and resources from you, which means that they're less likely to want to kind of continue pursuing that, especially when it can go to someone else. Another one is say no. Learn to say no to people who deserve to be said no. When you can sense and feel that there's something wrong with this interaction, say no. No matter how uncomfortable you might feel by saying no, learn to say no to people who you have this intuition feeling that they're trying to do you something wrong, or they try and take something from you. Usually these people are very unclean. Their soul's very not pure. The soul's not very clean. And there's just something wrong with these type of people because the way that most normal human interaction works is two people get together and they try to have fun and they try to give a pleasurable experience to both sides. Now, in the case of psychic vampire, these people are trying to take energy without giving anything back, which creates a win-lose situation, depleting you of your energy. Lowers your ego, lowers your self-esteem, lowers your confidence, makes you more depressed, lowers your happiness. All the while, they're getting an ego boost, they're getting a positive self-esteem, they're getting compliments, and all this sort. For example, let's say you always give compliments to somebody, and then they don't give you compliments back. So you're feeding them positive energy, but they're not giving you anything in return. Now, one last piece here is it's a spiritual law here. There's always a way to kind of bypass certain things. Or not bypass, but there's always like an extra condition to the rules. If they are fulfilling you in some other kind of way, then it's a fair trade. The goal behind a win-win outcome is that it's a fair trade and both people leave happy, or at least, content, or at the very least that one person is not feeling like their energy is being taken from them. And you'll notice this with the people that you interact with, that they tend to be very selfish. They tend to be they're looking for something to take from you, and you can kind of sense it. It has a very unclean energy to it. It's very dirty. It has a I've seen the kind of vibration of that energy, and it's like it's very swirly, like it feels very swirly, like And it's a little confusing. So you gotta pay attention to their mannerisms as well as the psychic energy that's behind it. Anyways, this has been 25 minutes long on psychic vampires. This is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I hope you found this very beneficial. My name is Gerardo Morillo, founder of ProsperityLifeFast.com. I'm an enlightened human being. I teach about a vast amount of spiritual topics. If you like my work, be sure to check me out on ProsperityLifeFast.com. Also, I have a free ebook called Dominate the Online Business Game, which is intended to help you make money while you sleep. It's intended to teach you the mindset and the skill sets that you need to start making your own business and how to make money, and also using the skills that you already have to make money. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to give me your thoughts, comments, suggestions, or questions with the comment section down below. I know this video was a little long, so I do apologize for that. And as always, be sure to check out the highly recommended resources down below on this website, or on this video rather, and on my website, ProsperityLifeFast.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time.